thank you for watching part 2 of Aries, and I'm going to finish up by reading the last sections, and these sections are mostly associated with how all the circumstances we talked about in part 1 are going to play out this year. So it's kind of the forward-looking reading aspect. So moving forward, Aries are going to expect to be asked to combine a variety of things around them. So making an accumulation of a variety of factors as you will yourself move into a more authoritative position in the circumstances that are around you. This moving into an authoritative position has a lot to do with you really taking on the power of the Chariot. The Chariot is really associated with, becoming successful and overcoming the things that plague you in the past. And so this is a new beginning for you in general, and it's almost like you get a new go at things, you get a new beginning, and then you kind of want to take ownership of that and really be able to manage that for yourself. A lot of what's going on for you internally and in terms of your social perspective is really guided by internal insight and also like baseline instincts such as your intentions towards people and circumstances, and also kind of your intuition. So your intuition about circumstances, not so much like fortune telling, but your natural intuition, which we all kind of harness and we're learning to be better at, is guiding you towards making some decisions and about really kind of charting out new territory. A lot of this has to do with this previous experiences of having finished something and then having to kind of set out in the world to find your place again. And so you've achieved balance, but this year is a very mystical one for you. There's this really strong strain of destiny, of dreams, of really feeling connected to like a higher order of stuff, or if you God's plan or the mystery of the world, whatever you want to call it. There's a strong strain of influence in your life where you're experiencing a lot of the interactions you're having in the world right now are really motivated from your personal time, from your time alone, and then also from your time, within yourself or within your intuition, within your insights and private moments. And so you establish yourself and your strength by it's kind of a backdoor way to do it. You're really kind of guided by these kind of intricacies, and a lot of this has to do with a balance between intuition and then also spirit, so what your drive is telling you. And so yes, also for many of you may find that you're looking towards your husband or your partner at this time as the person who's going to really help you to become more creative. So maybe you have some creative projects or personal pursuits you wanna do, and then you will be looking to your partner in order to identify those, in order to see those and see those through, and he's going to be the person who kind of helps you. Now, if you are single, then you may find that you are looking to a father, maybe a brother, maybe someone who's in your line who takes on the patriarchal role. If you don't have anybody like that, then very well you could be looking outside of your home and finding like a surrogate. So a surrogate is someone who kind of fills the role of the person that you don't have in your life. So if you want, if you don't have a father, if you don't have a masculine influence in your life, then you may find a surrogate. Now this is true for men and women. So if you're a man and you're seeing this, then you might find some kind of what's the word for it? Mentor, right? So a mentor might come in and bless your life and help you elevate yourself. And this is going to be all through the creative lens, so there might be some real creative inspiration for you coming through there. But everything is really tied with these internal forces and like intuitive perspectives. So you're going to be inspired by intuition, and you're going to be inspired by your inner voice, and that's going to really propel you into a creative pursuit, and it's going to really make a lot of sense as it starts happening. Maybe not so much now, because right now, I think, as I'm recording this in January, you may be just feeling a little bit like this is a strange scenario. I'm starting to sense things. I'm starting to have dreams. I'm starting to notice stuff, but then it's going to really start congealing together. So you're on the brink of something good, but you just really need to let it all kind of fall into place. And as these things go, it's really best to be non-combative with it, non-pushy, very gentle and understanding, and that will turn out in the best way for you. So the next card out is you in the position, and you're really growing into a creative force this year. The Magician is telling me that you're going to be really able to create something of stature. Now, if you're not super creative, I think it's funny when people do, all sorts of different discussions, and they really heighten creativity. And there's people out there who are just not creative. They may like it, they may appreciate it, but it's just not their thing. There's people into sports or whatever, or some people are really amazing at remembering stuff. Science is a great thing, to be involved in. That doesn't mean that scientific people are not creative. That's not true. But in your pursuit, whatever it is, I'm trying to say, you're going to really kind of come into a creative force power, and that really means that you're able to really manifest things and create stuff. And if you take on a project or goal, then that seeing it through will be something that will be a strength of yours, and you'll be able to do well. Now, your friends and family in this situation, we have the Strength card, and the Strength card tells me that there's a lot of passion around you, particularly from your friends and family. You may feel that it goes your direction, in which that you get a lot of really strong support in whatever you do. But then alternately, you may get confused about how people are directing their passions and how they're directing their libidos, and so expect a lot of flux, but it's going to be interesting, and it's not going to be transitory in nature, which means that your friendships are not going to end and begin. You just might find your friendships a bit quirky this year, and your family situation a bit quirky. You may have to really work on biting your tongue, and then also subduing all other inspirational things that are happening for you. So you will be working within you're going to have to kind of subdue your instincts sometimes in order to make peace. So if respond over response, react. So go for the thought out response and the meticulous one, but you are going to be very much prone to kind of explosive responses. I do get the sense that some of you will be interacting with Leos, and Leo people are going to be a staple in your life. Now, if Leo people are around you this year, then expect them to be a passive influence. Don't expect like a bad thing from them. Don't expect them to be it. But I think that they're going to be people who kind of walk by your side through the year, and you will find kind of comfort within that. So you'll find a decent Leo friend is what I'm trying to say. And that person, whether this is a person, maybe it's your parents, but it will be a passive influence, which means that they won't be front and center, but they're going to be kind of the person that you kind of wind down with, that you chill out with, that you have a nice time with, and there's not going to be, not too much drama, not too much anything. It's just going to be a nice time. So in that sense, it's good. You may have some kind of advances coming at you from your friends and family section. I think that if you have relationships this year, I think that the higher chance is that it's going to be through people that you know. It's not going to be new people that you meet. So this kind of tells you where to set out your sights if you are single and you're looking for something. So I think that you may kind of have a year where you step away from relationships, actually. This might be a very independent year for you. This might be a year when you focus in on yourself and focus in on your goals and have a fundamental change that leads you to probably more education. Alternately, maybe you have an awareness about family, particularly if you're single and you have been fighting off family. So if you're kind of a non-committal person and you've been leading the single life, expect this year to kind of shift your focus and maybe let you know how important family is. And so this is this is in terms of transition and in terms of life experiences, I would say that you're kind of in the middle of things. You're not at the beginning of a journey. You're not well, in a sense you are beginning one aspect of a journey, which I mentioned here. But in another sense, you're kind of in the middle of your circumstances. So the big lesson is we have the lovers. And so the lovers can be also called the brothers, although this card is very love related. But the card itself is talking about fraternity, so brothers and sisters, and a different aspect of love. It has to do with family love. And so this is the big lesson that you are learning this year. And I think that really has to do with how autonomous you are throughout the center of the reading, and probably something to do with the shakeup that happened for you in the past. But in the big lesson is to grow and appreciate family, and grow to appreciate fraternity, and being closer with people, and being more closely in line with what people want and who people are, and being able to give freely within that context, and giving of yourself and trust. Trust is an issue this year for you as well. Okay, so the next card down is the Tower, and that's your outcome card. This is the big it, and this is where I'm saying that you are. It's hard to say, because I know I say that you are in the beginning, there's a major transition, but yet you're in the middle of things. Because there's different levels to these things. So the grand narrative of your life, you're in the middle of something. But within it, you're transitioning from one point to another. And that transition is going to be quite surprising, I think. You may have a surprise in love if you are single. You may have a romance. But remember, the romances that the Tower forewarns are fickle. So they're very passionate, and that's reinforced by the Strength card here, but they may not last. They may actually fizzle out quite quickly before you're ready for it anyway. And so, in other terms, if anything else, while you're learning to take a stand for yourself, while you're learning to interact with your own intuition, you may stumble a few times. You may find a few things in your way that are going to rock your world. You may learn a really few stark experiences. Now, if your friends and family, or if your social network, if there's someone who you interact with at this year, who with whom you experience this kind of dissipation of relationships, so like let's say you're befriending somebody and all of a sudden there's an upset of some kind, either a miscommunication, or maybe they just don't want to talk to you anymore, or maybe you just don't want to talk to them. Go with that. Don't push forward in relationships this year, because it's just going to lead to more chaos and discomfort for you. So you will experience these kinds of stark changes, and the best way to approach it is tolerance, because if you feed into this more, then it's going to affect your life more, and it's going to permeate throughout your life a bit more. So you don't want to heed the problems that are coming up in terms of friendships and relationships, and overall you don't want to jeopardize a really strong position of the High Priestess, the Empress, and the Sun. So you have, I would say, that 2 female friends and a male friend that are really significant, maybe more so than that, but just 2 are going to really resonate. One's going to be your intuitive component, one's going to act as kind of the mother or the strong woman figure, and then a strong father. But father in the sense of the Sun, which is to life-giving, life-affirming. It's not going to get into structural things such as the Emperor. That's separate. So those are the kind of archetypes that your friends are going to really come through. And then also this Leo, who might be a lot of fun and just kind of a bystander. But that might show up in your life, but you will see the theme of that coming through. Everybody else around, I get the sense that you may actually have, how do you say, alone in a crowd, because I said that you're going to be alone throughout this year, and this is a year of really coming to terms with personal stuff. But also I do get the sense that you will be exposed to people. Alone in a crowd is the perfect way to articulate that. So that means that when you are coming upon people that throughout your life, this year, don't get too tied into, to things that are not going your way, and just kind of let things go. And some of this is going to be kind of hard. Some of it's going to be stuff where you get really excited about things, or you get really, you think like something's going to be a really good deal, and it just doesn't turn out the way that you hoped. So patience. In the spring quarter, so this is the first quarter that I read for, you have the Hangman. So you have a continuation of things from the past, and I think that that's good, because you let the clarifying aspect of justice, which is underneath here, come on over you. You will experience the majority of the influx of the spiritual influence on your life in this term, in this quarter. And so I went to school for way too many years, so I keep on thinking in terms. So the not the high priest, but the Hangman is really talking about being patient within your circumstances, and those circumstances may be pushing you to your limit. You may really, really want to go, but he's able to see what's going on so much because he's held so much into place. And there is, once he gets down, there is offer for him. There is restitution for his penance or the time. The money's here. So there's stuff holding him up, and there's stuff holding him up, and there's things to look forward to, and then there's a greater role at play. And until that breaks, until that is dislodged from your life, the thing that keeps you, then you're going to have to put up with the circumstance. And the one thing that really successful people do really well is put up with circumstances well and get ready for when the next burst happens. So this is always the lesson that I go back to for my own self, to get my life more hyped up, to get more progress, is when I'm on the DL, the down low, which is really to do with the Hangman. Then I work really hard, and then when it's time to rock it, then I really rock it, right? Because I'm ready and I don't have to catch up. So this is kind of my advice to you if you're dealing with the Hangman in the spring quarters. Kind of focus on, if you don't have much to do, if you don't have a lot of money, get a book from the library, learn something new, apply yourself when the opportunity is available so you can strike. Now in the summer quarter, expect maybe the romance to come up, the one that I mentioned already, to come up then. But be cautious. Be cautious of the people. I think that that's when you're going to see a flare-up of interpersonal stuff that's going to come up. And don't really feed into stuff, because the more you feed into it, the more it's going to be bogging you down and going to be a strain. And essentially it's just a blip. It's just the summertime. That's a small blip in your year. And the more that maybe it has to do with impatience in the Hangman, but the more that you feed into it, the more it's going to oppress you, the more it's going to be uncomfortable, the more it's going to suck. So don't do that. And then in the fall quarter, which is the Yang manifest energy, is once you're free of all this garbage in the spring, you're going to get really blessed with some positive things coming your way, and there's going to be blessings that are going to be thrown your way. The wheel of fortune is going to spin in your direction. It's going to really perk things up, and it's going to allow you to have fortunate turns in your luck. And so those fortunate turns in your luck, you're walking down the street, you think things are one way, that it's not going to work out, and boom, you have a solution. So you will continue getting all these solutions and positive turns of luck, and the outcomes are going to be positive, and things will work out. And so yes, so things will work out, things will be okay, and especially in the fall quarter, everything's going to really start coming together for you. And you're going to start seeing some other opportunities come up. Some of you may actually end up changing your work, and that's going to require you to actually make some changes in the fall and winter. And I think that part of the frustration is happening because your work is not really all it's cracked up to be, and particularly maybe you're getting robbed in some way, or maybe you see yourself getting really screwed over and that you don't like it. And especially if you're like a person who's over 30, then this may be a fundamental shift, and maybe something that's quite upsetting at the time, but ultimately it's going to result in something good. But you are dealing with dishonesty, you are dealing with the bad things, and that's why your intuition's up. Whenever we're in a bad situation, that's when our intuition goes up, and that's when our instincts kick in, right? So yeah, just expect there's a reason for why everything's happening, and with regard to those people, heed them no attention, heed them as little attention as possible. Keep piling on the positive this year, and the outcome will be good regardless. But the more that you use this energy and channel it in your own favor, then that's going to be better for you. The outcome in the winter, this is the yin or the manifest, this is the receptacle that you're going to carry into 2016. And this is the Hierophant. The Hierophant is talking about education and marriage and interaction with a formalized religion. I take it a bit step further because I think that religion is a bit antiquated for many people, and so this can actually mean an interaction with a community with a really definitive set of laws and mandates. So they have a motto or they have a purpose or something, and you're interacting within this governance system, and so you have to follow their rules. But I think for many of you, particularly if you're in that job situation I just mentioned, you're going to be retraining by the winter time, and in a completely different way. And that's going to be really tied into your own decision making and you taking the power for yourself. So you're getting somewhat screwed somewhere along the center of the year, but then you just kind of don't let it happen. And I'm very happy for you that you don't, because those things are never fair, and people do this kind of stuff now more than ever, and unions are weaker, and private corporations are stronger, right? So individuals get, this happens. What I'm trying to say is, if you're re-watching this and you're beat up and you're feeling like crap, remember you're not the only one. I've been through it about 8 years ago, and it was a rough period, you know, but it made me stronger and it made me do everything better. So yeah, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and just keep working hard. Thank you very much. Have a great 2015. I hope you share this video with all of your friends, and thank you very much for being my great supporters in 2014. If you want to help me out with this video thing, just click through to my sponsors. You don't have to do anything else. It doesn't commit you to anything. It's just an ad, and that's how I get paid. So thanks very much, Aries. Happy 2015. Take